Talking 4A football now, and for the second year, although the first time in 4A, Leo playing a team from South Bend at semi-state, and they've got South Bend, Washington. They lost at South Bend St. Joe's last year, but this year the game is in Leo, and that could be a big factor, I think, for the Lions.
Oh, certainly it'll be a big factor. Anytime you're able to stay at home and not travel on the buses and maybe you get a little cramped, a little tired of the ride, there is a big difference between last year and this year. I think Leo is a better team than they were last year. Or I think they're better this year than they were last year. So I think the outcome is going to be different this year. I think that they are going to be able to beat South Bend Washington. The Lions have really shown the ability to do two things in the last couple of weeks. A, be tough, and B, fight off adversity. And last week, against Winger, they were tough physically and mentally, but last week against Northwood, they really had to overcome adversity. They were very sloppy in the first half. They had a couple bad snaps, they had a couple fumbles, they struggled a little bit. Having said that, they still managed, because of their great defense, to keep Northwood to only 6 points in the first half, and they were able to win pretty easily. This Lions team is really a special team. Last week they ran the ball really well, had 3 guys with at least 60 yards rushing, and they passed effectively as well, 113 yards passing out of Ryan Leiter. They're doing it on all cylinders. They've got a balanced offense, and then the defense is unbelievably good. So I really like their chances going against South Bend this week.
That was the thing that impressed me most in looking at the statistics, is it wasn't just Trevon Carr. In fact, he was the 3rd leading rusher. Mike Schad and both Taylor Horn were ahead of him in terms of rushing yards, but when you got 3 guys in the 50 to 80 area, how difficult is that to defend if you're a South Bend Washington team?
Oh, it's incredibly difficult to defend. You have no idea who to key on. You have no idea who your linebacker should shadow. I mean, it's unbelievable. And as soon as you do start bringing guys up, maybe bringing a safety up to stop that run, then Ryan Leiter throws effectively downfield and burns you that way. So they're just a nightmare to try to contain right now from a defensive standpoint. And then when you can't score either against their defense, boy, it's just double trouble.
Yeah, a lot of the time we don't talk about the Leo defense. I don't think we give them enough credit, because you're talking about a Northwood team at Northwood, pretty good offensive team. Leo comes in giving up 11 points. They give up 12 points, so right at their average. They've been doing what they've been doing all year, and you know, taking on a team that averages 30 points in South Bend, Washington. I think their defense is ready for this challenge.
Oh, they absolutely. Northwood was averaging almost double what they scored against Leo the other night, and so they took a really good Northwood team and shut them down. Now, South Bend Washington has a couple of good wins. They beat Hammond Morton. They beat Mishawaka, and Fort Wayne fans will remember the Mishawaka team that really easily handled Northside earlier in the year. So this is not a weak team. Well, nobody's weak at this stage of the season, but this is not a gimme by any stretch of the imagination. However, I don't think that South Bend Washington has the prolific offense that can score against that Leo defense. Leo is not going to allow them to score 30 points a game. They're probably going to hold them under 20 points, and Leo can score 20 points in their sleep. So I really like Leo's chances in this game.
Quarterback-wise, when you take a look at Ryan Leiter, we talk about Zach Terrell, we talk about James Kanapke. Do you think he's right there with those guys, or pretty close? I mean, 3rd best quarterback in the area, and it's no shame to be behind those 2 guys.
Right, you could make the argument he's the third best quarterback in the area, but he's a different quarterback. I mean, those guys are really big, strong arm guys that can throw the ball way downfield and accurately. Ryan Leiter's asked to manage the game. When you have 3 guys that can run for 50, 60, 70 yards a game, you don't need to throw for 200 yards in the game. You just need to throw enough to keep the defense honest and open up alleys for your running game. So, yes, I don't want to compare them to Zach Terrell and James Kanapke. They're Division I quarterbacks, and they're great in their own right. But Ryan Leiter's different, and he's very effective for what Leo wants him to do. I
love him. I think he's one of those guys that physically you look at him and you think maybe in college, if he gets playing somewhere, his best football is ahead of him. I don't know. That's just the feeling I get with Leiter. I know Jared Sauter wouldn't trade him for anybody.
Right.
That's for sure.